So as I'm sure you probably know already, the previous dictator in Syria is finally out and rebel groups have taken over the country. Not only did Israel take advantage of the chaos by capturing strategic locations in Syria over the border, but last night and yesterday, they just wiped out what seems to be the entire Syrian Air Force and Navy. We have a lot to get into, so stay with me. I'm Ben Hilton, and this is the Israel Guys. Before I get into what Israel is doing, let me briefly explain why they are doing it. Per the usual arrangement, the Middle East is a giant mess. In Syria, there are really no good answers. Even though Assad was a terrible human being for his people, under his rule, things were relatively quiet for Israel on the Syrian front. Yes, Assad was closely aligned with Iran, and yes, Assad did allow Iran to transfer weapons through Syria to Hezbollah, but Assad wasn't openly trying to destroy the state of Israel every other day, and in the Middle East, that's about as good as it gets. Israel knows that with a quickly revolving door in many Arab countries between evil dictators, none of these countries should have access to too large of a gun to aim at Israel ever. Even if Israel is technically at peace with any given country, who knows how long the dictator they made peace with will still be in power. This is why in 1981, against the wishes of the American government, Israel destroyed Iraq's secret nuclear reactor. This is why, again, in 2007, they bombed another secret nuclear reactor in Syria, probably built by North Korea or assisted in the building by North Korea. This is also why Israel has fought tooth and nail to keep Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons. The danger of one going bang when you least expect it is just too real. We're dealing with crazies here, and Israel has to treat them as such. This is how you survive in the Middle East, something the West has very little grid for. And Israel has looked at what's happening in Syria and realized that the new regime coming in just could be much worse than Assad in many ways. Check out this video from the rebel leader who just took control of the country. He's saying, "We entered the great Umayyad Mosque in Damascus, then we will enter the Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem and the Kaaba in Mecca, Saudi Arabia." While these rebel groups may be making a show of being moderate at the moment for CNN and BBC, these guys are Al-Qaeda and ISIS all over again, and Israel knows this. This is why, as Josiah went into detail yesterday on his show, Israel has been taking strategic locations on the Syrian border, and this is why also Israel just destroyed what seems to be maybe the entire Syrian Air Force and Navy. People living close to the Israeli Air Force bases are saying they've never heard anything like this in their lives when it comes to the amount of fighter jets taking off. We'll get into the full details on that in just a minute, but first, when Hamas attacked Israel last October, they called the operation Al-Aqsa Flood. The message was clear. This war wasn't about freedom, open ports, work permits, food, or anything physical. This was about spiritual domination of the Temple Mount. Radical Islam cannot rest while believers in the one true God of the Bible honor the one place God chose to set his name forever. The place God said will be a house of prayer for all nations. In response, someone in Israel created this patch. On it is a representation of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem, the place of God's throne. The text above simply says Mashiach, or the Messiah in English. Since its creation, this patch has become enormously popular with the Israeli combat troops in Gaza and Lebanon. Even secular Israelis are wearing them. If Hamas is going to make this spiritual, then we should fight back on the same level. Click the link in the description below so that you too can wear one of these patches to boldly stand with the nation and people of Israel, to stand with the place of God's throne, staying such forever. Since Sunday, Israel has conducted 300 airstrikes in Syria. Supposedly, this is the heaviest Israel has hit Syria since the Yom Kippur War in '73. According to Western intelligence sources, Israel has been striking mainly Air Force bases, including entire squadrons of fighter jets. The reports are saying that for all intents and purposes, Syria's entire Air Force has been effectively neutralized or is in the process of being so. This is very reminiscent of when Israel struck Egypt from the air in the first hours of the Six-Day War in 1967, destroying their air force as well. This is what swung the tide of battle in Israel's direction from the beginning, crippling Egypt's ability to fight in the sky. The Syrian Observatory for Human Rights also confirmed that Israel has carried out strikes in Syria, also adding that the Israeli Air Force hit chemical weapons production sites as well. There are rumors that some of the chemicals leaked into surrounding neighborhoods from the strikes, but usually these rumors turn out to be false. Yesterday, Israel's Foreign Minister Gideon Sa'ar did confirm that Israel had struck sites used to produce chemical weapons and also destroyed a bunch of long-range missiles as well. He added that, quote, "The only interest we have is in the security of Israel and its citizens." So far, it looks like Israel has taken out surface-to-air missiles, air defense systems, surface-to-surface missiles, cruise missiles, long-range missiles, and coast-to-sea missiles. Israel is also setting up a secure area behind the buffer zone between Israel and Syria. So this would be an area free of strategic weapons and terror infrastructure inside of Syria. So they have the buffer zone on the border, then kind of another buffer zone behind it that would be still Syrian, but free of weapons that could be used to attack Israel. They also took out a research center outside of Damascus and a center for electronic warfare in the capital. According to Reuters, Israeli Navy missile ships sank Syrian Navy ships in their home port using sea-to-sea missiles just this morning here on Tuesday. The IDF is saying that the Syrian Navy has been destroyed. To what extent, that remains to be seen. There are credible reports that say that the IDF are operating as far as 20 kilometers from Damascus with ground forces and tanks, but the IDF have denied that they are so far into Syrian territory on the ground. Obviously, this report could still be true, and there are strategic reasons for denying it at this point. So what's actually happening here does remain to be seen. So on a broader scale, what is Israel doing here inside of Syria? On one level, Israel is playing the game that must be played for survival. They are under threat of extermination on a daily basis, and a good opportunity has opened up here. Several times since Israel's founding in 1948, Syria has actively tried to exterminate the nation of Israel. They have a threatening military, and placing that military in the hands of rivaling rebel groups who also want the destruction of the state of Israel is genuinely a bad idea. Israel had the opportunity here to take advantage of the chaos and destroy Syria's military before anyone has the chance to use it against them, and they should. This is absolutely the right move here. If Israel has learned anything over the last 2,000 years, it's the fact that they can't leave their fate in the hands of others. No matter what the world thinks, they must be active and aggressive in defending their own interests. Iran thought that they could bring Israel to its knees, but by God's grace, the evil has come back on their own heads. Hamas is functionally gone. Hezbollah is close to gone. And now Syria as a threat is being removed as well. Rumor has it that Israel is strategically clearing a flight path through Syria, removing any air defense systems that could hinder them from striking Iran in the future as well. So thank God for all of this. We need to continue to pray for Israel, that God would deliver them from all of the evil that comes against them. We should also pray for the innocents in Syria, for our Christian brothers and sisters whose freedom might hang in the balance with this new regime. Guys, don't forget to check out our Temple Mount patches, Mashiach patches. The link is in the description below. Don't forget to leave us a comment and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. As always, stop listening to the lies and propaganda and connect with the truth of what is happening in Israel. We'll be back here soon here at the Israel Guys.